Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into yet another edition of Rock Hard Ball. As always, I am Carter. That's Weezy. Getting ready to go here for episode 11. Got another great show on deck for you all today. For today's episode, we're going to be getting into the recent NBA news. We've got the free agency stuff going on. Players are heading to new locations. Guys are getting extended, staying where they're at. So we're going to talk about that stuff. More College Football 25 news coming out. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to be going over our College Football Blue Bloods and New Bloods today. So obviously, that's a conversation that kind of comes up, seems like every college football season. So we're going to kind of give you our thoughts. Who's the blue blood? Then, of course, we'll wrap things up with Rock Hard Takes. And we're going to have one more additional segment today for you all. And it's going to kind of lead me into our next thing here. We got a producer now. Colin Kelly is going to join us here now as our producer. So he's going to wrap up with his own segment today. He's not on camera, but Colin, really quick, say thanks.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, so Colin's going to be joining us here. Going to help some of our producing stuff. We'll bring them on here and there. For some different segments and stuff like that. And yeah, should be good to have another guy on here chiming in here and there and helping us out with some of the graphics and hopefully adding some more production value. Maybe we'll start getting some like highlight clips and things like that going when we're going over different things. So good to have Colin here, and we'll get going here with today's episode. Nice to see that we already got some people going in the comments already. Yes, Cass, I am wearing the classic peach colored shirt, but lawn sleeve this time. Maybe kind of clashes with the walls a little bit in here, but
yeah, it's pink in person.
Yeah, it is pink, but you know what? We ride. Howie, nice to see that you're out here tonight. Let's fucking go indeed. And Sam, apologies for the slight delay there. We were getting a couple of things worked out before we went live, but here we are. Rock Hard Ball is here and better than ever. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, we got the NBA contract stuff going on. Like I said there at the beginning, lots of guys getting new deals, moving on from different teams. Let's start with a big one right away. A guy who's been in the location for a long time, Klay Thompson, has reportedly agreed to join the Dallas Mavericks on a 3-year, $50 million deal, officially ending the run of the Splash Brothers. We just pass over to here. You here first.
Warriors, yeah. Ridiculous underpay, I thought some team was going to give him a shit ton of money. Ended up not being that way. I love the fit, personally. I know a lot of people, Lakers fans, would have liked to see him over with LeBron and AD, but I like the fit. I don't know what you think. I think that new big three could do really well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know how they play them, I guess. I almost think you might just bring Klay off the bench and have him be like, an offensive firepower piece for that second unit. Obviously, he's not like a ball in the hand type of guy, but somebody who can come out there and just knock down shots for the second unit, because I don't really know. Unless they play them at the 3, but that puts that for a guard. But they're already kind of small the way it is based on the fact that their best two players are guards.
I don't think they go get Klay and have him come off the bench. Maybe. Or at least maybe try to show something, because he wasn't great last year. Like, we can just be honest with ourselves. He wasn't great. It's like a bounce back would be needed. But again, I don't think you go out and get him to have him be the sixth man on that team.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting dynamic to keep an eye on. Obviously, small ball has worked in the past for the Warriors, so I guess we'll see if the Mavs want to try and roll it out there. But I don't know. You kind of alluded to it, and it's a huge joke on social media. Yeah, he has regressed for sure. The injuries haven't helped. He's a step slower than he used to be. He's not nearly as good a defender as he used to be, but he's still a very good player. He's still a starting caliber guy on most teams, but we'll see, I guess, if they don't want to trot him out there. But yeah, I do like the fit in general. I think he would have been really fun though on that Lakers team. I think he would have made a big difference.
I agree.
So that would have been fun, but unfortunately we don't get to see him there. So unfortunately, Eric, no, the new segment is not Sweeney Sweater Puppies. It's kind of maybe a slightly similar taste to it, but not quite that. So Austin says the Warriors took a big L on losing Klay Thompson. I don't know.
That.
I think it was time, right?
It was probably, it's time for do you think Steph retires Warrior?
I think Steph probably does. I think it's at this point now where he's old enough that I feel like he probably does. Like people have always been saying, for the past few years that they both gotten older that they want to see LeBron and Steph team up. I think it's way more likely to happen in Golden State than it is in Los Angeles. If that were to happen.
Yeah, I could see it. I don't know. I just think he leaves. Draymond eventually leaves. I don't think Steph has any reason to be there still. And their past years, he has been talking about potentially leaving. I want to say it was a few years ago before he signed that max extension that he didn't know if he was going to be a Warrior. So I don't know. This move to me could maybe mean Steph does not end his career as a Warrior.
Yeah, and then again, back to the comment too. I don't really think they took a big L because like you said, yeah, he probably got on a decent contract for what he's been in the past, things like that. But he says they got rid of Poole, Klay, and CP3 for pretty much 2 second-round picks. But at the same time, it's like all these guys were. mean, Poole was a locker room problem for what they had at the time.
And then Washington turned out to be like not great.
Not very good when
he
he
was
had
good in their
star.
system for sure. Yeah, he was great off the bench, but yeah, he wasn't much. And then getting rid of CP3 didn't do shit this year.
Yeah, CP3's washed. I mean, and then people make the argument too that Clay is slightly washed. Cass says, do we think Clay would have seen minutes over Bronny? You know what? It would have been a tight contest.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so Clay goes to the Mavs. That's one of the first big moves there, free agency. Again, it would have been a lot bigger move 3-4 years ago, but still worth noting nevertheless. But the biggest move so far at free agency now that we'll get to that happened in the middle of the night, which was just kind of weird. I don't know why. But it's like you just woke up this morning. It's like, oh, at 4 a.m., Paul George signed with the Sixers. So Paul George has agreed to the Philadelphia 76ers to a deal with them. 4 years, $212 million deal. That big three, though, gets really nasty now in the East.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell LA is doing, too. Like, you got, Harden, George, and Kawhi, and it's like the one they're okay letting go is like probably the most reliable one on the team.
Yeah.
That move did not make sense to me. Like, I get, like, Kawhi's a great player. When he plays, he doesn't play very often, but you just mentioned it. Yeah, Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George, that would be a fun group.
Yeah, like you hit the nail on the head there, so I don't even really know what else to say, because that's what I was going to say next is, yeah, Paul George, by far the most reliable star on the team the past few years. Kind of weird that it just never really worked in LA, honestly. I mean, I get it. Like, obviously the reasonings are there. Like, there was injury problems and stuff like that, and then when they finally could get healthy, they would just, it wasn't there because they had not played together for so long. But still, like, there was, when they brought those guys in, Kawhi was seen by most people as a top 5 player in the NBA. Paul George was still seen by most people as probably a top 12, 15 player in the NBA. And it just amounted to pretty much nothing. I think they won 3 series in the 5 years that they played together.
Yeah.
So pretty shocking that team was together for that long, and it just never really worked out. But now, obviously, yeah, Paul George is gone, moves on. And I think the 76ers now, I mean, they're not going to unseat Boston as the favorites, but I think it's just clearly those two now versus everybody else.
Spent all this money.
Yeah.
Spent 12 first-round picks to get Mikal Bridges, and it's like, all right, well, now Philly's clearly a step ahead of you guys. So,
and then like the Bucks too, like they're in a weird spot now.
Yeah.
Too. Like, what the hell are they going to do? Because now, by most people's account, they're probably, maybe some people still give them the leg up on the Knicks just because they have Giannis, but it's like, really, they're probably the 4th best roster in the East now. Yeah. If that even. The Cavs have a really good roster too.
And those two have struggled to stay healthy. And again, if like you have to have healthy Dame, healthy Giannis if you want to even try to compete in the East now.
Yeah. So Bucks, weird spot. We'll see where they go from that, but East should be a lot more fun to watch now. Boston's not going to run it through it like they did this year. So yeah, going to be a lot more competitive. Obviously, the health is still going to be a big thing with the Sixers though, because Embiid, struggled this year. I mean, they were a contender in the East obviously before Embiid went down this year to begin with. So adding Paul George to that adds a lot of effect. Next one up, not as notable, but it's the common theme over and over again. Everybody gets paid. Cade Cunningham gets a 5-year, $226 million extension with the Pistons. Has he made an all-star team? I don't think so.
No. Well, the biggest issue is that he hasn't played that much games. He got drafted in 2020. I think he's played 132 career games, which, like, if you're Detroit, you have to lock him down. He's your best player by far. Like, you get rid of him, like, what the hell are you telling the fans?
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing it again? Like, no, you have to kind of buy in here, but you're giving $250 million to a guy who hasn't really played that much basketball in his career.
Yeah,
so,
it's
also
a scary thing for the whole NBA. Like,
the games that he wins, I mean, not wins, the games that he plays, he doesn't win. So,
yeah. Well, they don't ever win, no matter who's there. It seems like for the last however many years.
Yeah, but Malachi Flynn will put up 50 on a random night in January.
Well, hell, I mean, they had Cade Cunningham did have that one game against the Celtics where he went for like 40, like 12 and 8 or something like that when they were on that losing streak and still lost. So
they were up like 20.5.
Yeah,
lost in overtime.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just continues to be ridiculous, really, that they just keep giving everybody this much money. Because like you said, yeah, you have to pay him, lock him down, but it's like every single guy that's eligible, they just like have to pay him max. Otherwise, they'll just go somewhere else and they'll just get max. And it doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't really get why there's not tiers. Like, yeah, in the NFL, when a big guy comes up for a contract, that's whatever top 5, maybe sometimes like even top 10 in his position. Yeah, he breaks it and becomes the highest paid player. NBA, there's guys who are like maybe top like 15th or OG Anunoby got paid what?
I want to know where the money's coming from.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I think every starter on the Celtics now is like $200 million contract, because we'll talk about Derek White later, but it's ridiculous.
the Celtics. Let's actually just jump there right now. You just mentioned it. So Derek White gets an extension to stay 4 years, $125 million. And then the Celtics are the only team in NBA history, I believe, to pay a guy a contract over $300 million, and they have 2 of them.
Yeah.
So that's concerning.
No, their starting roster is worth $1 billion.
Yeah. So Jaylen Brown became the highest paid player in the NBA, like towards the end of the season, right? I think it was still in the season. They extended him. It was like 5 years, $304 million. Now Tatum gets 5 years, $314 million. I mean, it's like, where's this money coming from? Like, it doesn't make sense in the NBA anymore. Like the salary cap, everybody just gets paid. I don't get it at all.
No, it makes no sense.
It's just kind of turning into baseball. Like, I don't know. At some point, just get rid of the salary cap almost in basketball.
Even baseball contracts aren't that like egregious.
Yeah, they're usually more spread out, I guess.
Because they're more years.
Yeah.
Like Bryce Harper's $350 million deal was over 13 years. Paying Jaylen Brown the same amount of money for 5.5 the time.
Yeah, I guess the bigger point is, like, I don't know how they can even like keep rosters together anymore. So when's the last time you've heard about a team like in the NBA like really struggling with the salary cap?
Like only the Lakers.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Howie says, let's get a spreadsheet explaining this. One of Cass's buddies I've heard is quite the spreadsheet master. Nathan, if you're listening as well, also a good spreadsheet master out there. Put a spreadsheet together for us. Let us know how the NBA is handling this with the salary cap, because it's getting ridiculous. But at the same time, Tatum obviously got to sign him. Makes sense. Same time, Jaylen Brown, keep that dude together, they're going to be in contention forever. Yeah, so makes sense. But then again, at the same time,
we're going to wake up tomorrow and Al Horford's going to have a 6-year, $280
Oh God. Now that's when the sky starts falling. If they can extend Al Horford for 6 years, that wouldn't be good. One more guy here who got a really big contract extension before we move into some of the kind of like the lower tier ones. Tyrese Maxey. We talked about the Sixers earlier. I guess we probably should have brought him up when we were talking Paul George, but 5 years, $204 million. Again, just getting it on paper, keeping him there for the long haul. So Eric says Tatum will make a higher average annual value on his deal than the entire.
There's a lot of players who probably do.
That's crazy.
I mean, I don't. Kelly, if you could look up for us, like the entire like yearly.
Yeah, I'll give it a look.
Because I'm curious, how much, like, if we had to predict, how much do the A's pay their entire roster throughout a year?
I have no idea.
Olynyk make more on an average basis.
Total roster.
It says the Athletics payroll is $90 million for the year.
$90 million.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah, I told you 90. It's not Tatum who's going to make more. Like every other NBA player. I mean, oh my God, that's a ridiculous number.
That's including the bonuses. That alone, it's $47 million without the bonuses. So.
Oh no, it says 62.8 here. So that must be.
Yeah, Eric's chiming in here saying 62. I mean,
so yeah, that is. So it probably is just Tatum then, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what is that? 314 divided by 5. Yeah, 60. So he makes like what, 63-ish?
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, he's got to be just barely over.
Yeah.
The only other person that's probably close to Jaylen Brown, but that's still just absolutely nuts. Thank you for throwing out there. That's a crazy fact, because I did not see that anywhere. That's nuts. No, unfortunately, we haven't heard from Tony or Jordy yet. Need to get those guys in here. Miss Hall of Folklore there,
yeah,
for the boners. So, and then Weez, a little shout out here. Happy early birthday. For those who don't know, the Rock Hard Ball fans, Weezy's birthday is in like a little over an hour here. So, shout out. And yeah, there's the confirmation on Tatum. Thanks, Eric. Sammy J hasn't been chiming in too much, so good to see that we got a nerd out there looking out for us. Let's see. Tony's apparently looking for the Hawk Tua girl. So you know, they finally found her. You see that at Zach Bryan concert. She was on the Plan Bree podcast, or whatever, through Barstool. And apparently she said that she's just gonna make a career out of this now. So I don't get how that's gonna work out in the long run for her, but it'll be interesting to see how that ends up working out, because I don't know if she's gonna walk around like LA and say Hawk Tua and she'll get paid for it. I guess I don't know. She says she's gonna move to LA or New York, and like she quit her job. She's moving to LA or New York. I don't know what she's gonna do. Maybe
do you just like buy into like the here's how you suck a dick?
Yeah, like do you still just go on with it? Sam's upset that we called him a nerd, and how he said he still is a nerd. So another rough night for Sammy J. But Sammy J, we love having nerds like you out there. you guys are good to have in the comment
Yeah,
section. Let us
you
know those little
Sammy J's
tidbits.
watching
Same with
at
Eric.
5:30 in France.
Yeah, Ali says, but you're our nerd. Community sticking together here. Rock hard ball, the boners hashtag. Anyways, let's get back to sports here.
Should we just speed run these last few notable ones?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. KCP. We all thought because
I thought he was going to go back to Denver.
Bought out of his contract. Thought he was just going to restructure a new one. No, he is now a Orlando Magic. I don't know the quite number. I think it's like 3 for $66 million.
Yeah. All-time miss by us, by the way, not having the Orlando Magic song pulled up for that.
Yeah. It's a great song.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan, no official news on where he's going to go, but he did say Chicago is gone, so he will not be returning to the Chicago Bulls.
Kelly, you want to chime in here? You're a Bulls fan. How do you feel about DeMar leaving?
So we are settling down for the younger players. So at this point, ship Vooch for a bag of chips. DeMar DeRozan, I love you. You've helped this team for a couple chunk of years, but honestly, at this point, Matas is the future, and it's time to ship everyone out.
Well, I did actually read. I did read today that they are actively looking to shop out Levine and Alonso. So looks like they're outside of everybody, but like Kobe White and a
full blown rebuild.
They're going right back into it, which is probably the right move.
No, it definitely
Looking
is.
At Chicago, they were just in like mid hell for the last 4 years.
I'll never get the teams who do that, like where it's like they're just constantly floating between like those like basically the play-in spots. But like, what the hell is the point in that? Like, what's the joy?
And it's different again if you have a bunch of young guys on your roster who are going to get better. It's like
like when OKC was fighting for a play-in spot last year, like not this past season, but the year before that. That made sense. Like, yeah, they're just a bunch of young guys that like are just learning how to play.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like your big three was all 30 plus.
Yeah.
And it's like you guys have no chance to do anything except maybe win a playoff series. So it was needed for them.
Yeah. Real quick note there on KCP. Cass, if you could let us know about the legend of KCP on 2K, it'd be much appreciated. Oh, there it is. KCP and Robert Covington, 14. All right, nice to know. And then also, I guess Tony is busy with the WNBA, so we miss Tony. Hope to have him back soon. Probably our most entertaining commenter a lot of the time. So, Tony, we miss you. Come back. But anyways, I don't know. Do you want to finish kind of speed running there? I don't know how many we have left, but
one more big name, not really. Derek Jones Jr. Joins the Clippers on a three-year, $30 million deal.
That basically makes up for the loss of Paul George.
Yeah, it does pretty much. I mean, he can jump out the gym, so they got that in common. So
they already have Westbrook too. Like now they just have two really athletic guys that basically just wins championships.
And there's a bunch more, obviously, but we're not going to go over the 40 free agents that got signed.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Let's not waste our time with that. With that though, let's go to the NCAA football game. NFL, not really any news recently. I guess they released their offensive line rankings for the season coming up. PFF did. Lions were number 1. Shout out. But I mean, that's probably the only like somewhat notable, which is such a weird thing. Is like that was like literally because you texted me about it too. That was the only thing I saw about the NFL on my Twitter feed today was just literally just like some guy from PFF releasing his offensive line rankings. I was like, okay.
I looked up like any NFL news and it's nope, nothing.
Yeah. So unfortunately, not much NFL talk today. Obviously, we'll get into that more as we get closer to the season, but for right now, we're going to skip out on that. So we're going to go to EA College Football 25 news, getting closer and closer to the release date of the game here. Early release date's July 16th, and then the normal release date's July 29th. So they released their top overall power rankings, and so we're going to kind of go over those, give our thoughts. Obviously, we already did the top offenses and defenses, but we had Georgia at number 1, 95 overall. Ohio State at number 2, 93 overall. Oregon, number 3, 93 overall. Number 4, Alabama, 92 overall. Number 5, Texas, 92. Clemson, Notre Dame, LSU, 6, 7, 8 at 90s. Penn State, number 9, 88. Utah, number 10 at 88. Let's take the first stab, I guess. What do you think about this kind of the overall ranking? Teams that jump out at you?
I'm fine with the first 4. I'd flip Alabama and Texas. I don't know what you would do there. And then Clemson has no business being on this list, personally.
Yeah, I don't think that they're... Unless they put together like a really good season like the ACC and maybe get in as like an auto bid, there's no way they're even going to be like in playoff contention, I don't think. No. And I don't think they win the ACC because I think Florida State's definitely better than them.
Yeah, and Florida State's not on this list. They're way too high. I mean, they must just be high on Dabo, which is a fool. It's 2024. But no, it makes no sense. At least it's top 10. Obviously, they can't see, but we can talk about the lower teams too.
Yeah. So Ole Miss, number 15 at 80 overall. That's a team who I think everybody in the country thinks that's going to compete for a playoff spot, right?
You could argue national championship. That offense will be very good.
Yeah. So they're not even in the top 10. Colorado has been a common theme here in the EA College Football top 25 takes. They're at 16.
They won 4 games last year.
They won 4 games last year in the Pac-12, which was not super stellar. I mean, they had some good teams, but nothing super stellar. I don't understand how they continue to find themselves up there. Again, I think you said it last episode. It has to be just clickbaity at this point, like getting people to talk about the game. And I get it to a point, but I mean, if they start the season like what they were last year and they're bad, they better drop them like fast, because it's not true to the game. Like,
and
let's
everybody's
make it realistic.
talking about how it's like, oh, well, it's just the overall all the talent. It's like there is no talent on that team except 2 players.
Yeah, they have a couple of just superstars. And okay, yeah, smoke Nebraska. That's a big misconception. Let's get that out of the way right now, actually, because that final score is not indicative of how that game actually went. That was a through. Colorado just kind of ran it up there at the end, and so it looked a lot worse than it was. Let's not forget Nebraska had 0 quarterbacks last year. They have quarterbacks this year. I think they win in Memorial this year. So we'll see how it plays out come football season, but I think Nebraska definitely beats Colorado this year. But yes, technically it was one of their 4 wins. So yeah. Moving on though, I guess I don't know if there was any other teams that you wanted to hit on before we move on from the college football. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at this. Weezy, I'm assuming it's directed at you. That's proud of you. So
not my mom, but all right.
Keep up the good work. But yeah, great job, Weez.
This is Monday at 11 o'clock. She's not watching, but what were you saying?
I said, was there anything else with the college football game that you wanted to kind of get out there?
Well, I mean, not much else to really discuss.
Yeah, now it's kind of just a waiting game. I feel like. I mean, they did release a like dynasty thing today. They kind of like posted some of the looks at dynasty mode. That looks pretty cool. Apparently, you can like DM like recruits. Like that's like part of the game is recruiting them. Like you can DM them.
Be like, how much money do you want?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Like it's like you can spend like points like for like an official visit, and then like you can spell some for like DMing them, stuff like that. Yeah. So, we got a little bit of NFL talk maybe that we could get into right here. Coming up in the comments. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Let's see. What are the thoughts on the Bears roster and their outlook? We talked about it a little bit. Caleb Williams should be really good.
They'll improve.
Wide receiver room should be good. Colin, you want to give your thoughts at all? Mr. Bears fan over there? Is there optimism?
I feel like we'll end up being an either 10 or 11 win team this year.
Really?
I'm going to shoot my hopes really high. I feel like the only bottom we could probably have is maybe 9 or 8. I mean, a lot of hate towards Caleb, but I think this might be the year. So we'll see.
I feel like here at Rock Hard Ball, we've been pretty generous to Caleb Williams, but
I mean,
national media always kind of likes to say that the rookie quarterback's got no chance. But I mean, they to me, I mean, we said it before, they scream like 500.
Yeah, I mean that division is just way too difficult for them. So
yeah, probably still won't be the Packers, Kelly. Sorry, but
Lions.
We still own you. So let's never forget until you prove otherwise. And apparently, we're still not happy with your off-screen figure.
Apologies, Burmo. I'll do my best.
We're happy with you, Kelly. I think you're doing a good job so far here in your debut. King Nick's returning for year 9. Oregon is easily 103 overall. If this could be big, if true, definitely important. And then Sam said that Nick's found out the freshmen say the same age, even though he gets older. So interesting take there from Sam. And then you allowed to DM the coach's daughters in the game. Seems like it would help make it a bit realistic. I don't know. We'll have to contact the guys at EA and see how that's all going to work out. And Cass says that he can smell the Bears take from you through the phone, Kelly. So
it smells good.
It smells good. All right. Let's see here. So I think that's about all we had for the Culture Bowl game. So we'll go to break here really quick, run our little 1-minute commercial, and then we'll get back in here and we'll do our Blue Bloods and New Bloods for Culture Bowl. And then, of course, we'll finish up with Rock Hard Takes and then Kelly's new segment that he's going to be doing here going forward as well. But once again, you're listening to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network here at Culture Ball Dogs. We'll be right back.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right, and we are back here at Awkward Ball. Once again, part of the Dogs Media Network here at College Football Dogs. Apologies, that commercial is definitely a little bit loud. We're going to see if we can maybe fix that. See if we can make that not be like 10 times louder than the actual show. Same with the intro video. That's a work in progress. So apologies for that, Sam. I'm assuming that's what you meant by the just all caps, welcome to College Football Dogs. Kobe on ad reads. I'm assuming kind of on air ad reads. Hopefully will be coming soon. Kobe, kind of tough for him with the late night show. We're thinking about and kind of like in discussions about moving the show a little bit earlier. So then hopefully we can get some more and I'll probably make it a little bit easier for eventually bringing guests and stuff like that on. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. But for now, the show's going to stay in the time slot that it's at. But once Kobe's on days off, Eric, don't never fear. We'll probably get him on there. East Coast Gridiron says, "What's up, guys? What's up, East Coast Gridiron? Nice to see you in here. First time." And then we got a first time commenter here from Jack Connolly. Weezy, can you comment on how often Sudak cheats in golf?
At least 6 or 7 strokes around.
All right.
Shaves a lot. So.
Good to know. But so quick hitter there. But let's get on to our college football blue bloods and new bloods. So obviously a big discussion that happens pretty much every year in college football, especially when a team that's, maybe not been historically like a top tier team, but has won recently. I think we talked about it a little bit like when we very first started Rock Hard Ball, right? When like UConn won the national championship in men's basketball, kind of talked about the blue bloods versus new bloods a little bit in college basketball. So we actually don't have a Karter versus Weezy here thing because we actually had the exact same thing for both. So kind of a group effort here. We'll put them up here, kind of go over them and discuss. Let us know your comments if you think that somebody's missing from either list or maybe if one of these new bloods has officially moved into blue bloods territory. But we'll start with the new bloods. You got Florida, Penn State, Florida State, Georgia, Clemson, Tennessee, Miami, and LSU. Weez, what do you think? I mean, you actually obviously had these 8 teams for your new bloods. What kind of the thought process behind a lot of these teams?
I mean, pretty simple. Blue bloods obviously have the history deep into World War II. These teams don't, but these teams have won within the last, 3-4 decades. So there's some newer ones like Clemson, and then there are some teams on here who've been around forever, like Penn State and LSU, but not much to talk about. They're just the new bloods of college football.
Yeah, I think that's the general thought process when it comes to this, because obviously, these teams have been dominant as of late. It's just kind of the historical thing that kind of it takes on. I always kind of feel like the interesting thing too is like I almost feel like you could go like a third category here, which you see some people do is like purple bloods, like teams who've been around for a long time but just haven't won at the high level of the blue bloods.
So who'd you put there? Like Penn State?
Like Penn State, I feel like would probably be like a purple blood.
Yeah.
I guess other than them, it's kind of tough. It's even like Georgia has been like so dominant as of late that it's like you almost feel kind of wrong not putting them in that like elite category. And then there's also ones where it's like they haven't been as good the last 10 years, but they were good enough within the last 25 that they should still be in this, aka like Penn State consistently good, haven't won a title in forever. Florida obviously was very good, back in like the Urban Meyer days, Tebow days, stuff like that. They haven't really done much as of late. So, I feel like that's kind of the thought process of some of those. I don't know. Do you agree?
Yeah. There's not much to disagree with, like for sure. I'm also like curious. We should have included a shit list too, just like teams like Indiana who never were good, never will be.
Yeah, yeah. Seriously. East Coast Gridiron says you probably throw Oregon on there.
Yeah, probably.
I could see it. Yeah. They haven't had the national title success, but I guess some of these teams haven't necessarily. Anyways, Dan Lanning era, yes, it is inbound. And Oregon is dangerous. They probably firmly put themselves here this year if they make a run.
Yeah.
Obviously. Let's see here. on-screen moment for the off-screen guy. We'll try to see if we can maybe look at getting Kelly a camera, so we can cut to him once in a while. That'd be nice to do, but right now we've only got a 2-camera setup, so it's kind of tough to get him on there. But eventually maybe we'll get Cullen's beautiful face out there for the fans. Let's see here. So he doesn't open till 9, so our Olympic correspondent Jordan Schaefbauer won't be ready until about 10:30. Get an hour and a half buzz rolling, 2 to 9 cigarette smokes, and 153-year-old mom hit on. It's a great point, Eric. We'll have to probably at least keep it at this late slot until we get Jordy on here, because that is an important thing that we got coming up still is our Olympic preview with Jordy from his local dive bar in Denver. So that'll be an important thing to continue to look for here for all you fans out there. Let's see here. Getting back though, Blue Bloods now. Obviously, this is a big discussion. People always disagree. Usually, some of these teams haven't been good recently. Some of them have been better recently, but maybe don't have quite as long of the history. But we went with Notre Dame, Alabama, USC, Michigan, Nebraska, Ohio State, Texas, and Oklahoma. We'll let you take the first kind of stab at it again. What's the thought process behind a lot of these guys?
Pretty simple. You've been around since, again, World War I, and you've been pretty good throughout your 9 decades playing college football. There's some, obviously, who have maybe lost a step, like Nebraska. But
yeah, we're already getting some comments here from Cass saying, ha, 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 Nebraska.
They're 100% a blue blood.
Yeah, no. Like, I've titled. Like,
who was one that I was considering leaving off Oklahoma, but it would be a little disrespectful.
Yeah, no, I agree. They've won more. They've won more recently than Nebraska.
Yeah,
but they don't have as long of the continued dominance, I would say. It's like also with Nebraska too. You think about them. Yeah, they had the 5 titles, stuff like that, and yeah, these guys are just letting us have it there in the comments. But yeah, they had the 5 titles, but like, let's not forget that they were just like extremely dominant for like that entire like era, like between those 5 national titles. Like, yeah, they didn't win any from whatever it was, 71 to 94, but it's like they were right there, like knocking on the door so often. Like, people wanted Tom Osborne to get fired, like in the 80s, because they couldn't win the title, but they were just consistently winning like 10, 11 games every year.
Yeah.
And then Nebraska actually ended up making that same mistake. Like later on, they fired Frank Solich, who was winning like 9, 10 games a year. Oh, he didn't win a national title in the first 3 years. Let's fire him. Well, where have we been since then? So, yeah, long history winning only in the 90s. Well, Cass, I know you're a Wisconsin fan. They're not on here for a reason because they have never been dominant. So this is what we're talking about. Sam says Nebraska's clearly in 30 years in a row of around 10 plus wins. It's just no brainer, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's really an argument for Nebraska to not be on there. Obviously, these guys are heckling, but
maybe fast forward 20, 30 years, Nebraska still is winning 4 or 5 games a year. We'll put them in like the past bloods with Princeton. But until then, no, they're for sure a blue blood.
What do we think about this comment from East Coast Gridiron here? No, definitely don't think they're a blue blood.
Maybe a new blood, like maybe.
Or that's where I also, again, like I bring that kind of other category, like where it's like a purple blood, or it's like, I don't know. That's almost more like teams where I feel like it's like you haven't had like the national title, like caliber stuff, like never true dominance. Like obviously Auburn had that one title with Cam Newton,
yep.
But it's like, team like that, yeah, it's consistently just good. Like I'll throw Cass a bone here, like a team like Wisconsin, like a team who's been just competitive for years, but just has never really gotten to that top throw. And they're kind of close to that category too, I would say.
They're an above average team for a very long
forever time. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely just a weird dynamic. Let's see here. Wisconsin doesn't belong in blue blood talk, not heckling. Nobody says Nebraska is. Okay. I don't know. I'm giving up on the argument there because I think it's pretty clear that Nebraska is, and they're just not having it. So, but yeah, that's kind of the blue blood list. More than one winning season in the last decade. Jenny asking. I don't know, but I don't know if they have. I'm trying to think. 2014, I think they did. I think they did in 2018. East Coast Gridiron said that's fair. Nebraska, Tennessee in the early 90s, early 2000s made them a blue blood. Auburn fell off the last 10 years. Sad to see a couple of natty runs.
Yeah, we didn't have Tennessee on there though either, but
yeah,
they're new blood. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think, like, could they be an old blood? But no,
probably not. Yeah, that's the biggest argument here is just the history. Like you had to have had like a dominant run. I feel like that lasted like a really long time.
Yeah.
Because it's not just like being old. Like it's also like you had to have had a run where, like you were just super dominant for a long time, or had just been like consistently very, very good with a couple of national titles like sprinkled in there, like a Michigan. Like Michigan's just been very, very good for a very long time. They don't have a ton of national titles. They've got a couple, and it's obviously they're the reigning champs right now, so that gives them
They
another
would
leg up.
continuously kick the ass for the school of deaf and blind back in the 20s.
Yeah, that's important as well. I mean, so some of those just scores and box scores that you see, like those teams that play back then, are just wild. But yeah, I guess probably gonna wrap it up for New Bloods and Blue Bloods. Andy is in that shits list that we talked about, so
They're right next there.
Not there.
They're right there with Indiana.
yeah, right there, the Indiana is for the world. So that'll wrap it up though for Blue Bloods, New Bloods. So that being said, we're gonna move on to today's edition of Rock Hard Takes. So today we're going to be doing fictional athletes. So anybody who's basically been like in movies, stuff like that. The one like rule that we made, basically, there's not a whole lot of rules. You can basically take anybody from the movie, right? As far as I understand.
Anybody, yep.
Just
no
not like
actual
real
athletes.
no actual athletes. So we can't take like Michael Jordan or like LeBron James from like the Space Jams, basically, is what that comes down to. We outlawed those guys.
Is
but
Airbud fictional?
Airbud? Yes, no. Airbud actually was a real athlete that played in games.
I don't know.
No, yeah, he's definitely fake.
Just making sure. We got to bring this up. Yeah. How many Adam Sandlers do you got on your list?
2. No, 3. I have 3.
Almost spot on with the 4 call right there.
Yeah, pretty close. But yeah, I've got 3 of them on here, so I'm sure we'll get to them. All right, let's get it. Who had first pick last time?
I had first pick. I took Gerald Ford.
Oh, so you're right. Okay.
Your first pick.
I hate going first. There's too much pressure. Let's see here. I'm gonna go.
It's gonna be Adam Sanders.
I'm gonna go Adam Sandler. Happy Gilmore. He was the top of the game. He won the tour championship.
Shooter McGavin was a better golfer than him.
Who won the tour championship?
He caught fire one weekend. He caught fire one.
Who wore the gold jacket? That's my biggest question. Who wore the gold jacket?
So he finally won a gold jacket.
Happy
Shooter's had him.
No, he hasn't.
Shooter definitely.
No, the whole plot of the movie is that
right.
Shooter hasn't won one.
Yeah, you're
and then Happy comes in when it's Shooter's tour now, and Happy beats him. So I'm going Happy Gilmore. I'm sure I'll get hate for it because it's Adam Sandler, but who cares? Since I had first pick, I took Gerald Ford. The crazy sentence. I agree that it's kind of a weird thing to hear.
Presidential athletes, in honor of the presidential debate last week. So
yeah, that is a weird thing to hear, like out of context. But anyway, so yeah, Happy Gilmore 101. Weezy, you got 2 and 3 here.
All right, I'll go Rocky Balboa and Kenny Powers.
Okay, Rocky definitely high on my list, and then Kenny Powers actually I didn't even have him on mine, but
he's more of a locker room guy.
A lot more of a locker room guy.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Respect the pick. Coming in at number 4 overall. Don't worry, I won't go back to back Adam Sandler characters, although I thought about it. We're gonna go with Lightning McQueen.
Good pick.
All-time race car driver. I don't know what you want to call him. He's just an actual car. So we're gonna go with McQueen. I think he won 7 Piston Cups.
He won 7.
Yeah. So by most people's account, he is the GOAT of racing in the Cars universe. So I think he's a very good pick there as well. Moving on to the 5th pick. I'm going to go with kind of one that's a little off the wall here. Probably going to get called a nerd for it. But if we get any Harry Potter fans out there,
he's on my list.
Victor Crumb.
Oh,
no, Victor Crumb.
Okay.
Nastiest Quidditch player of all time. He was like the best in the world when he was like still school age. And then also the 4th movie, Goblet of Fire, he would have won that cup if he like didn't get like possessed or whatever. He was definitely the best wizard, most athletic guy out there.
I mean, the movie names are Harry Potter.
It was rigged for Harry Potter. Come on. Victor Crumb would have won that.
No, he was not.
Harry shouldn't have even been in it.
But Harry was, because the goblet knew, man.
Yeah, because he was supposed to get killed by Voldemort.
And did he? No.
Cass, thanks. Appreciate it.
The landing was a good pick.
But no, I think Victor Crumb's a really good pick. Did you have like Harry on your list? I'm assuming.
I had Harry.
I mean, we'll get to it eventually. I don't know if you're still going to pick him or not, but
I had Harry. Yeah.
Is that going to be next pick?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
That's what I was
So
sure.
is it my turn now?
Yeah, it's your
Yeah,
it's your
okay.
turn. You got the 6th pick here.
All right, I'll go Wild Thing, Ricky Vaughn.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to another Ricky with Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, I considered Ricky Bobby. I had him on my list, but I already went with one Cars guy. Like going with Lightning, so I didn't really want to go again. because like I feel like Lightning is just the better pick. So Ricky Bobby for Weezy there. What was that? 6 and 7, right? So
Yep.
All right, 8th overall. I think I'm gonna go. I'll go back to the Adam Sandler characters.
I was gonna.
I made it well known before, and we're gonna go with Bobby Boucher. Does anybody else remember Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime? And they won the Mud Bowl.
Yeah,
And always remember. Big time scene, big time player. One of the greatest rises of all time to greatness. Very fast. And then last pick here for me. I'm gonna go. I gotta throw one baseball guy in there. Again, I mean, like Bobby Boucher, like a big time cultural player. So like respect, like that's like a real athlete. So another guy I'm gonna go with that was like an actual athlete in his show, Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
Yeah, he was on there, but he was kind of overrated, kind of flamed.
I mean, he went to the MLB.
Yeah, but didn't put up numbers in the show. So I get one more, or do I have two more?
You have one more.
One more. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Billy Bob from Varsity Blues.
All right. Any honorable mentions you want to throw out there?
I had Harry, Doc from Cars.
Okay.
But that's pretty much all I.
It's tough. It's tough to like take out there. It's like
Exactly.
because like he's just not even the best in his own craft. Also interesting like debate topic though that you could get into with cars is like, do we go with like the eras thing that we do with like in real sports, like real life? It's like Jackson Storm came in. I mean, he was a different tech, but I mean, realistically, he was the fastest car ever.
But it's the issue though. It's like, well, what if Doc had that engine
Mhm.
and those wheels?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Doc also did mentor Lightning.
Yeah.
It's worth noting as well. Important thing.
He was just wise beyond his years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was old, so I don't know if we did necessarily say beyond his years. But no, a couple other guys that on there that I thought about throwing out. Paul Crew, another Adam Sandler character. But I mean, he played in the actual NFL. Scumbag though, so ended up not taking him, shaving points. Redeemed himself in the end though for the cons. So Paul Crew was on my list. Maggot from Longest Yard was also on my list. Hell of a player. Jesus Shuttlesworth is on my list. Considered him. And then finally, I know we already outlawed like LeBron and Mike, but Bugs Bunny also on my list.
Okay.
Hell of a ball player. So Cass has no love for Mater, best reverse driver. No, shout out Mater, but not technically a sport. I feel like, well, maybe a sport, but it's like Mater would be like because like the equivalent, like I don't know, probably like being like really good at like rodeo. It's kind of like, I mean, that's cool, but it's like, I mean, no one really compares it to like the real sports, like
Yeah.
That,
He's like a really great darts player.
Yeah, exactly. Like a really great darts player. Yeah, seriously. Air Bud was like a 32 sport athlete. Good point. Yeah. That probably just would have been not fair though, so that's why I didn't take him. I mean, Ruiz, I'm sure you thought the same thing, right?
I'm pretty sure the guys in the locker room hated him too. Did you hear that or no?
Air Bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just come into every sport and dominate.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like, he like just didn't like follow the rules of the game either.
Yeah.
They just let them kind of do what the hell he wanted. He's got a ridiculous whistle. Kind of fucked up. Also, I feel like that's a little. If we would have taken Shuttlesworth, is that different or no? Because like he's not like actually,
I don't know. It's a gray area. I would
Yeah.
say.
I mean, we didn't take him anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I mean, interesting kind of thought process, anyways. But yeah, that's today's rock hard takes. Throw out. They could just. But if they didn't like him, that's kind of messed
Probably
up.
a little too far, but
Yeah. Well, Weezy probably like that. I mean, didn't we hear the one episode that you hate dogs?
somebody mentioned that. But no, I have Air Bud for a dog, just minus all athletic ability.
Well, your dog is LeBron, actually, isn't
Yeah,
it?
he's a big boy.
Yeah, big boy. Yeah, probably not. Probably not today. Anyways, that's gonna wrap up Rock Hard Takes. But last thing we have here, going to be a new segment here going forward every single episode. Colin, our producer, is going to do some type of just list basically every time. It's kind of almost a little bit similar to Rock Hard Takes, but not quite. Colin's just going to do a list of basically just anything.
Yeah, me and Carter are just gonna tell him make a list.
Yeah, we're just gonna tell him to make a list of nonsense, and then he's just gonna rank stuff. So Colin, go ahead, tell him what your category is today, and get it rolling.
All right. So today's category is top 5 names in sports. So the first one's gonna be leading off is Coco Crisp. So Coco Crisp is elite athlete, early 2000s. thought the guy name was Cocoa Puffs growing up. It's not Cocoa Puffs. It's Cocoa Crisp. He's a righty slugger. Guy's a legend. He's a family name to most people in Oakland. Hated now, maybe, but overall good guy. Next one I'm going to go with is God Sham God. So God Sham God is a insane street baller who played at Providence and actually had a stunt in the NBA, which didn't know that, but he's a pretty good hooper. He came up with the insane crossover dribble. I forget the name of it, but
it's just called the Sham God, isn't it?
It's just the
It's
Sham
just his
God.
last name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Sham God. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of fair. Next one's Neville. So no one has ever heard of this guy in the entire planet. He's a sleeper pick. So Neville is a cricket player from England. He actually died in 2015. Rest in
That's
rest in
unfortunate.
peace. Yeah, that's a really. I mean, he's actually a very good player. I'm looking at his stats. I don't really know how cricket works like at all. But the guy was. I mean,
Got numbers, just like high numbers.
I mean, everyone's heard of Bull. What about Neville?
Yeah, no,
It's a fair point.
It's a great point.
So yeah, absolute stud. I feel like he works good for the 3 spot. The next one is Nikola Vucevic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this name stands alone. I mean, Nikola kind of invented the whole wave of Nikolas for the most part, but
We would have never had Nikola Jokic without him.
but as of recently, his name has tainted the world. I think if Vucevic wasn't in the NBA, it'd be a lot better. I think his name's like, it's pretty goofy now. I mean, back in probably like 2018, 2019,
It was
solid.
respected.
I mean, he played defense. Now you look, it's year 15. He doesn't play defense. He's fat and he's not the good Nikola. He's not even top 4 Nikolas. I'd take Nikola Mirotic over him. He's not even that good.
Okay.
So
So he basically just got at 2 because you hate him, right?
it's a 2. So he's the one that started the wave of Nikolas, but
Okay.
I mean, he's probably 6th on the list of like current NBA Nikolas. So I wouldn't even say he's up there, but that's gonna be number 2. And then number 1 is Dick Pound. So Dick Pound is a Canadian swimmer. Apparently, this guy's won a lot of medals. So through 1968 and 1999, he had a lot of stuff. He worked with the Olympics. God, apparently his medals aren't that great because they're just not naming how many he won. They're just saying
Okay.
they're just saying that he was an elite athlete, and that's through the Olympic website. So he, I think he's a chief president through something with Canada, and he's also a lawyer. But yeah, Dick Pound.
All
He's
right.
going to be the winner of today's top 5 name ranking.
All right. Well, and then let's not forget the actual name of this segment. It's Kelly's Kinky Rankings. I don't think you mentioned that.
Kelly's kinking.
Yeah. So yeah, Kelly's gonna do that. It's Colin Kelly. I saw cast it. I thought this kid's name was Colin, so that's why it's the Kelly. Couple comments on it. We see DeColdest Crawford got snubbed. I don't know how we feeling about that, Colin. You think you've snubbed DeColdest to ever do it?
God, I don't even think he's the coldest to be out there, man. I really hate to say it, but give him some time, maybe.
Okay. And then we got Rip Neville. Yeah, Rip. The hell is this list? It's Kelly's Kinky Rankings. We told you what it is. And no, I don't think it's just a talk about the Bulls a little bit segment. I think he made some great points as to why Nikola Vucevic was up there. I won't lie. I also was kind of like, Nikola Vucevic, really? But I think you did a great job of explaining it. So
Yeah,
He's not even a great Nikola.
he's not even the best with the name.
It's not. Yeah, that's all you need to add.
It's pretty silly. It's a silly name.
Sammy says Neville was a problem back in his time. Leave it to Sammy J to maybe actually know who that guy is and like know what he was about. I wouldn't be surprised.
He's on his fantasy draft radar.
Yeah, he's on his fantasy draft. Probably not. And then the Trump Biden Gulf rivalry. I'm gonna guess that neither of them are probably as good as they say they are. So
No, I mean Trump's been like well known to like cheat. And
yeah.
I don't think Biden.
I saw the one
physically-
video of him like swinging the golf club, and it was like a couple years ago, and he could like barely swing it. So
Yeah, I don't think Biden can swing a golf club like today.
yeah, I'm gonna guess they're both probably like 15, 20 plus handicaps. So
Dude, I don't think Biden can finish a round of golf.
yeah, probably not. I don't know. Interesting topic though. That was great. That was like the biggest talking point of debate that like decides the leader of our country. So
Yeah, this guy wasn't a 6 handicap.
yeah, let's stay away from that. Let's just stick with sports.
I've
It's
seen
a
his
lot more
swing.
fun. Yeah. But they talk about sports, so we're going to talk about it. So that's probably going to do it. So Colin's Kinky Rankings will be a new segment every single episode. A lot of times it might not be sports related. Who knows? Colin's just going to come up with something, and then we're going to react along with it with all of you. We're not going to see it either. So we get to all react together to Colin's lists, and he will be going in depth. He said he might start making some PowerPoints as well to really get his point.
Slides for the viewers to look at. So
all right, sounds good. Well, that being said, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all for tuning in. It was a fun time, and I guess let's see here, July 4th.
No episode Thursday.
No episode Thursday. I don't think we're going to be able to do one Monday either, unfortunately.
We want to do Tuesday.
We might do Tuesday next week. So we're going to have probably a full week off from you guys, unfortunately, with being out of town and stuff like that and traveling for the 4th of July weekend. But we will be back at some point next week. If not Tuesday, then just back for our normal Thursday show, probably. But for today, that's going to do it. And we will see you all when we come back from our little break.